Hi, I'm Anthony Originello, CEO of the Chartered Professionals in Human Resources for BC and Yukon. We represent more than 8,000 members, and as the organization dedicated to advancing the HR profession through education, advocacy, awareness, professional development, as well as our recognized and impactful CPHR designation, we are proud to be a sponsor of this show. We have been the voice of the HR profession since 1942. Learn more about us at cphrbc.ca.
In this edition of Careers That Matter, I'm joined by Glyn Lewis of Renewable Development. Renewable Development, that's an interesting company name, because we hear about renewable all the time, but what exactly is Renewable Development and what's your role there?
So Renewable Development is this really innovative company that I started about 5 years ago. And essentially what we do is we find really good single-family homes slated for demolition. We provide a responsible demolition service to folks. We physically move the home that we rescue, and then we take it to another community, usually outside of growing urban areas, where we repurpose the home. So I'm essentially a demolition company, I'm a moving company, and I'm a general contractor construction company. But I try to maximize the reuse of existing materials.
You're a founder.
And I'm a founder.
Is that a blessing or a curse?
Um,
And I say that partly tongue-in-cheek because it comes with a tremendous amount of, oh my gosh, there's a problem that I didn't anticipate, and there's another one. So how much of your day is spent trying to figure out how to make what you want to do work?
And you know, Stu, it's interesting. It's an interesting question, and I also have thought about this within the context of what we're trying to build. And like I think I mentioned earlier, we are one of the only companies, if not the only company, structured the way we are in North America, which is the demolition, the moving, and the repurposing all integrated into one company. And as far as I know, no other company is structured like us. And so there is a phenomenal amount of growth and disruption that I'm actively trying to bring to these industries, to the demolition industry and to the construction industry. And so it's not only just building your own team, it's not only just being a CEO and the culture and having the right people and training them up. It's also externally how dynamic and innovative and disruptive our business model is, and how challenging it is to be so innovative, and how challenging it is to be so disruptive. So I have challenges internally in terms of building this thing, but I also have incredible challenges externally in terms of forcing change on industries that don't really want to change. So it's incredibly complex, and it's taxing.
Is there a typical day for you?
Long.
Like how long?
I mean, this right now, it's been a little bit better, but it's average for me for be working 10, 12 hours a day.
7 days a week?
I try to take Sundays off. So Saturdays and Sundays, I usually
try being the operative word. Are you always successful?
That's right. Yeah. I mean, half days on weekends for sure.
So, where'd you go to high school?
I went to Mosscrop Secondary in Burnaby.
In Burnaby, right across the street from BCIT, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. And when you graduated from there, did you have any idea that you were going to be the founder of a renewable development company?
Nope.
What was your ambition at that time?
I wanted to be a teacher.
A teacher?
Yeah.
And what went wrong?
Or what went right.
Or what went right, yeah.
I had this really great chemistry teacher in grade 11, grade 12 who really believed in me. I was a bit of a late bloomer, and I was struggling, and he just saw so much potential in me. And I just really appreciated that. And I really wanted to be that kind of a mentor for someone else one day. So I ended up, chemistry was my focus. When I was graduating from high school, went to SFU. I signed up as a major in chemistry, got beat around in the sciences there for a couple of years, especially the maths it's pretty...
Because it's hard.
It's not easy.
No.
I had all my friends who were in literature and English and anthropology, and they were sitting outside in the sun, and I was sitting in some dungeon, going over calculus and test tubes and stuff like that. But that's what I thought I wanted to do. I thought I wanted to be a teacher. I still think that teaching is like my mom's a teacher. It's a great, noble profession.
Absolutely.
But I shifted to environmental chemistry because I got awakened to the climate change crisis. And then I actually focused even more on politics afterwards because I thought that actually might be the best way to create bigger change in this world.
you switched from chemistry to politics.
That's right.
That's an interesting, sharp left-hand turn.
It's interesting. There's actually a couple of global leaders who've taken the same trajectory. Angela Merkel, she was a biochemistry major. And for some reason, I thought Thatcher might have been something in the sciences too originally. But it's an interesting, there's an interesting trajectory there. But it doesn't actually naturally make sense. But I think there is a common thread. And the common thread is I look at the world both analytically but also creatively. And the analytical part is my scientific background. The creative part was, and there is some creativity in sciences, but when you put those two things together, you start looking at problems differently. And I think that's inherently what renewal is. It's looking at industries that have existed for hundreds of years and looking at opportunities and solutions that aren't from within the industry. It's no mistake, it's no coincidence, Stu, that I don't have a construction background. I don't come from the construction industry. Right? If I came from the construction industry, maybe I would just keep on looking at making widgets the same way that we've been doing it. There's little changes that happen along the way and innovation and technologies. But I just really wanted to upend this thing and say, okay, well, how do we radically do this differently?
You wanted to be a disruptor.
I wanted to be a disruptor.
Wow. Well, you went into politics, not only in Canada, but into the United States. Like, you really wanted to go out and have an impact.
Yeah.
What was that like?
One of the most rewarding things I've ever done in my life.
What was the work like?
Also exhausting, but I was young. I was 23, 24 years old, and I was, campaigns are kind of like startups. You start really small with a small core group of people, and if you're successful, you grow, and you grow really fast. And so I was part of it wasn't maybe even 100 people in the campaign at the time when I signed up for Barack Obama's 2007-2008 campaign. And I had some background in politics because I was involved in student politics at SFU. And so I kind of understood political organizing, and I understood community organizing and all those kind of skill sets, which are incredibly useful and powerful tools. And so I went to the United States and I crisscrossed the country and I met thousands and thousands of Americans. And the interesting things about campaigns is that they're kind of, if you're good, you work your way up the ladder really quickly.
You ride the front of the wave.
You ride the front of the wave.
Yeah.
And I ended up being the deputy state director in North Carolina. I was like 24 years old and I was a Canadian. Like, this wild things.
Did that lead to a job within the Obama administration?
A lot of my friends went into the administration. A lot of my friends ended up being speechwriters to Barack or to Michelle, different Department of Education, all these different departments. And again, young, ambitious, and bright-eyed people who had a great heart, I have to say. I'm still friends with lots of them. But I didn't. I came back to Canada and I said, this is home for me, and this is where I'm going to try to figure out how do I maximize the ways that I can have an impact.
So what'd you do? Because that's going back to 08.
07, 08, yeah, I was pretty young still. And so I went into the nonprofit sector. And I worked in the nonprofit sector for many years. Education was a big focus of mine. And then I also started a tech company that built software for political campaigns. And that's done pretty well. It was called New Mode. So
you're an entrepreneur at heart.
I think so. And I think that's what I do best, too. I think it's just having that creativity and having that freedom to create something is really meaningful and powerful to me.
And then your sister identified a market opportunity that you weren't expecting.
Yeah, she's a bit of an environmentalist herself. She cares about these things too, and I think she's a creative person too. Actually, there's a lot of similarities in that sense. Like, she's an environmentalist, cares about sustainability, but she's also very creative. I think I have a bit more of an analytical background because of my sciences and a bit more regimented in those ways. But so she did this and it just kind of awakened my eyes and I said, well, why don't we do this way more? And that was this huge, beautiful journey that I've been on for the last 5 years.
So have you bootstrapped up this company?
Yeah.
Which is not easy.
It's not easy. Real estate, construction, it's capital intensive,
Yeah.
So I bootstrapped it. We did get a pretty significant grant from CMHC last year, which really helped us capitalize a lot of the equipment we're acquiring right now. But so far I'm the sole proprietor.
Well, congratulations.
Thanks.
What do you think is the most important personality trait or characteristic that you have that has left you open to go in a variety of different directions through your career leading to now?
Curiosity.
It's the big thing, isn't
It's
it?
a huge thing, right? And it's not just curiosity in one dimension. It's curiosity in so many different dimensions, and then looking at problems through different lenses, and really sitting there and analyzing something and saying, I think that there's an opportunity behind that problem. I think there's an opportunity behind this demolition epidemic that we're seeing, or the software that I built with that company, right? Or even Obama. Like, you know, sometimes you just have to be curious about, like, what if I was involved in the United States? What if I
Right.
started this tech company? What if we try to do development differently? And then saying, okay, it's not just asking the question, but it's like just throwing yourself 100% into it and saying, okay, now I'm committed to this.
You remind me of that quote from George Bernard Shaw. Some people ask why, and I ask, why not?
Not, yeah.
Well, congratulations. Thanks for giving us a little glimpse into your career.